Good morning and welcome to the video for 4th grade for April the 3rd. This covers the work from the 2nd. I am back in the classroom today since I will be working on polling packets and getting things ready to go home. Hope everyone is doing well today. Let's go ahead and take a look at our problems. So today we were working with division and using multiplication to check division problems and some number sense kind of things along the way. So let me make all this go away. Oops. There we go. All right, so number one, look at the division model shown below. We are going to want to count everything up. So I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 22, 24, 26, 28. So I'm making that into 4 groups. That would give us 128 divided by 4. Number 3, what can be used to check the division equation below? So our multiplication problem is going to usually start with this number, multiply by this number, and get us to this number. So that would be 296 times 4, or 4 times 296. Let's do number 4 next. So we are going to 887. And we are counting by 3s to get there. So we are going to have a remainder of 2 that we see here where we're adding. So that would be 887 divided by 3. So that would match letter D. Number 2, which statement is not true? So the divisor is 2. That means we are dividing it into 2 groups. So that would be correct. The quotient is 110. So we would take the amount of one of these groups. We have a 100 block and a 10 block. So that one is true. If we have 110 for both of these, that means our dividend or our starting number would be 220, and that means letter D is not true. We do not have a remainder. Number 6, we were starting to do multiplication to check our answer, so we're going to take our 193, multiply it by 5, that gives us 965. We add the 4, that would be our remainder, and that gives us 969. So that gets us back to our starting number, so we did the problem correctly. Number 7, Rebecca is using multiplication to check a division problem. She has almost finished her check. Write an equation for the division problem. So if we add these two numbers together, that's going to get us to our starting number for the division problem. So that would be 341. The number that we're multiplying by is the number that we are going to divide by, which is 7, and that gives us an answer of 48. But down here we had to add a 5, so that means we had a remainder of 5. Now, if you really want to be technical, we could actually take 341 divided by 48 and get 7 with a remainder of 5. I don't think anybody would try to do that, but we learned back in 3rd grade and doing stuff with 4th grade that as long as we're starting with the same number, these two parts could possibly be interchangeable. Number 8, what is the missing divisor? So if I were to do a division problem, I could do 177 divided by 59. I don't recommend you do that, but you could count by 59s, or you could count by 50s. So if I do 3 groups of 50, that gets me to 150. If I do 3 groups of 9, that gets me 27. 150 plus 27 gives me 177, so my answer would be 3 for that. Number 9, Mr. Wright bought 3 tickets for a musical for $141. What is the cost of each ticket? So if they were each $50, that would give me $150. And I can count backward from 150 by 3s to get to 141. So if I did that, I would count backward 3 more times, and that would give me $47 for each ticket. Or you could write out the traditional division problem and do it that way. But this is one that we could do in our head. So number 11, with the exception of this one, we can do all of these in our head if you remember some of the things that I've told you about. So if we are dividing by 3s, and this also works for 6s because 6s are multiples of 3, if I add together each place value, so 2 plus 8 plus 9, if I get a multiple of 3, I can divide it by 3. So I can do the same thing with 6s because I could count by 3s. So if I can count by 6s to get to here, I can also count by 3s, which means I would have no remainder. So let's take a look at that. So 17 plus 2 gets me 19. I cannot count by 3s to get to 19. So there is going to be a remainder for that one. 8 16, so I can do 8 plus 1 is 9, plus 6 is 15. I can count by 3s to get to 15. So that means, even though I can't count by 6s to get to 15, that one will have no remainder. The third one, if I can count by 2s, I'm going to have an even number. This is not an even number, so there will be a remainder. If I'm counting by 5s, my 1s place has to be a 0 or a 5. This has a 1, which means there will be a remainder of 1 for that problem. Again, if I am counting by 5s, the number has to end in 0 or 5. If it does, there is no remainder. Number 12, Jeremy completed the division problem shown below. 83 is our answer with a remainder of 2. So if I go through each step, I do 6 times 8 is 48, I subtract, I get 1, I bring down my 8. I do 3 times 6, and he put that it was 16. It's supposed to be 18. So the answer should just be 83, and there should be no remainder. So those are our problems for today. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message or an email, and I will be happy to talk about that. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I will see you all tomorrow.